Hey everyone, welcome to The Roadmap, Benzinga's new NFT show. Last few episodes, we've had some great interviews, some great NFT teams on with us, including the Vogu Collective, Robotos, the Doge Pound, Oni Force, and today we've got another great interview coming up on the roadmap. We have AlphaBetty. I know that's a popular project. There's a lot of people that know this one well. So we're going to dive in with the team and hear how that project got started and what everyone should be looking forward to from that team. We have a great show today. So coming up, guys, this is the roadmap. I'm seeing all these comments in the chat, guys. It looks like there are a ton of fans here for AlphaBetty. Super excited for this one. I've got to bring on my co-host, Maz. Maz, what is going on, buddy? How are we doing today?
What's up, Chris? I'm excited to be here. Shout out to all the AlphaBetty fam watching. I'm excited. Today's episode is going to be great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I mean, the chat is ready to go. Just a reminder out there, guys, if you're new to Benzinga, we're a stock-based company, but we're diving into crypto. We're diving into NFTs. We've got this great show called The Roadmap. We currently air Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's also the only way you'll be able to chat with us today. We'll be able to ask some questions with this team if anyone has any out there. But yeah, super exciting things to come for NFTs with Benzinga. Maz, what do you think? Should we go ahead, jump into the headlines before we get into today's interview?
Absolutely. And I know it's the top 10 of the last week. You want to break it down for us?
Yeah, so one of the articles I've been doing on Benzinga is the top 10 NFTs in sales volume each week, and that's based on data from CryptoSlam. So last week was led by Axie Infinity, $143 million, down about 4% from the week before. And then, we were followed by, names that everyone knows, Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks. Then we saw Loot drop from first place to fourth place. We also had the launch of the Sevens coming in at fifth place. And then some other big names, right? Art Blocks and Punks Comics coming in at sixth and seventh. And then some new players. We had Cryptoads at eighth, and we also had 888 at 10th, which I know we're going to talk about in a little bit, Maz. But, the big thing that jumped out to me this week was the return of Axie Infinity to first place. This series has been a monster, right? Play to earn NFTs. They rank first all time in NFT sales volume, sales of $1.93 billion. So closing in on $2 billion. They could hit that this week. What jumps out to you, Maz, on this top 10 this week?
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of the blue chips back in action after, a week or two of, there's some stagnant movement. Axie Infinity, man, that's new for me to see it on the number one list and seeing Loot down a little bit. So that's interesting. What about you?
Yeah, obviously, seeing Bored Ape, CryptoPunks drop a little bit from last week. The blue chips are still coming in on the top 10, but sales volume on these top projects is down a little bit. But again, I think people are, definitely chasing after some of those higher priced blue chip names. So definitely a nice list that we had this past week. One name, Maz, that we talked about last week, it wasn't in the top 10 this past week, but I know it was the week before, was VeeFriends, right? Yes. So Gary Vaynerchuk, launched this project earlier this year, Dutch auction starting at 2.5 ETH. These were hand-drawn images by him, and he was on CNN this morning. He is going to auction the original artwork for 5 of the VeeFriends NFTs at a Christie's auction on October 1st. So we're not talking an auction for the NFTs. We're talking an auction for the actual original artwork. There it is. And it's all slabbed up with the PSA case. If you know trading cards, you know the PSA brand. The thing that really struck me during his interview, Maz, was he actually said, so the host on CNN asked him, how much do you think these are going to sell for? What's the starting price? And Gary Vee responded with, start it at $0. I'm that confident the market will understand what it is. He calls this his Disney, his Pokemon, right? This is his intellectual property. And this is the original cell that someone has the chance to buy now. Sales of VeeFriends, $5.37 million in the last 24 hours. It ranks 12th over the last 7 days. I wrote about VeeFriends at the end of August, Maz, when Gary Vee had those books that you could pre-sale. The floor price then was 9.5 ETH. The floor price today, earlier it was 21 ETH, now it's 18, so it's doubled since the end of August. I mean, what do you take of this project and also that Christie's auction for the original artwork here?
Wow, so 2 weeks later it doubled, huh? Yeah, it's interesting to see, some of these projects, like Gary Vee's, where the market as a whole in NFTs has been kind of down. So it's crazy to see projects like this thrive. Dude, the artwork is hilarious because when I first, looked at it, I'm like, yeah, it just looks like you sat down and just drew some scribbles, but the meaning behind it and, the community and the leader behind it is great. Always bet on the people running the things. And I think Gary Vee's someone I would not want to bet against. So
yeah, and that Christie's auction too, Maz, is also going to have some art blocks, full collections, right? The sets, and also curio cards, which was one of the first ever Ethereum-based NFT projects. So that October 1st date for that auction, we're definitely going to be talking a lot about over the next couple of weeks. Maz, what do you got out there? I know we had some mints, happening over the past week or so. What do we got to talk about today?
Yes. So following up last week, we had some big launches. One of them being the crypto dads, right? So I know yourself and myself, we both minted pre-sale. So it was interesting to see after the launch, what happens after, the floor is up, completely. Moms are coming soon for the dads in a couple of weeks or so. And just seeing the community still involved after the launch is something that I like, because a lot of times people pump and dump these projects. Crypto dads looks like they're here to stay. And yeah, I know you have a crypto dad right now, Chris, right? So how do you feel about them?
Yeah, so I've got a couple, and one of the ones I've got, we talked about is I've got the catfish head, right? And this is one of only 25 with a catfish head. There it is on screen.
There it is.
So it's pretty rare. I was pleasantly surprised that the ones that I pre-minted actually turned out, pretty good in terms of rarity. This floor jumped up right before the reveal, then it kind of dropped down, and now here we are. The floor looks like it's over 0.7. Maz, as you said, crypto moms are coming. The thing that I really like about this is if you look at the OpenSea, right, the unique owners is like over 6,000 on a 10,000 project. I mean, a couple days later, like this thing, it's really got some momentum going. So I know we're going to be talking about crypto dads, for weeks to come. So definitely excited about this project.
Oh, and the floor is actually 0.78. So it's going up.
Oh, we're going up since we started.
Yeah, they've done a great job. Shout out to the team behind them. We're going to actually have them on pretty soon to anybody watching, and that's going to be an exciting episode that I cannot wait to watch.
Stay tuned for that announcement. At the end of today's show, we'll let you know when Crypto Dads are going to be on.
Yes. Yeah, so moving forward, we have a couple of big launches this week. One of them that has caught our eye is Omni Morphs, right? So Omni Morphs are 10,000 unique digitally hand-drawn pieces. They're going to go for 0.08 Ethereum, and they publicly launch on September 16th. Now, this launch has been something that has caught our eyes for the last couple, maybe I would say a month ago when we joined the Discord. The art's pretty cool. The artist behind it, Daniel, he's done work for Marvel. He's done work for Playboy he's a great artist. So, we're going to see, look at them here. The pieces are really cool. They kind of resemble the whole Oni style, but a little differently in my opinion. Yeah, there you go. So I'm a big fan of these pieces. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I like that they're forward facing, right? We've seen a lot of side profile projects, so I like that it's a little bit different, forward facing. You mentioned the artist, right? And we've seen some big artists come out in NFTs, that have been involved with Marvel and other big companies. So I love that attachment here. I don't own any yet, Maz, but I keep watching that floor price and I'm looking to get in. pre-public mint and maybe pre-reveal. I think we're going to have a reveal this weekend. So that would be my deadline to either get in or stay out of the project for now, I think, just based on that floor.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, so we had another project launched this past weekend, the URS project. So this project was unique because the way they launched was completely different. They avoided gas wars. So they did a raffle for general sale. So that's completely different than what we've seen. They avoided gas wars. We had some people that were able to buy. So it wasn't this crazy gas war that we saw. We had an example of that earlier where people lost a lot of money in gas. So what are your thoughts on this, Chris? What do you think of this going forward as far as launches being done in like a raffle style to avoid gas wars?
I absolutely love it. I'm all about the pre-mint, right? The whitelisting and discords, the raffle, the tiered drops. I mean, let's figure out a way, if gas is going to be such an issue, to try to get around that, right? I don't want to spend all my money just on the gas to get into projects. So I'm a big fan of that style of the drop they did.
Absolutely. Yes. And then finally for this weekend, we had a drop by a big collector whose name is 888 on Twitter. He's been in the NFT space for, I would say, a very long time. His collection is amazing. He has one of the most amazing collections I've seen. So he launched his Genesis piece this past week. And what that is, it's access. It's essentially like a mint pass, and it's access to future airdrops and future releases. And you join his private Discord. So his Discord already had people, Gary Vee was on there yesterday, Steve Aoki, Andy Milonakis, Paris Hilton. They have all purchased or been gifted one of these. So this is something to keep your eye on to see where this goes. I know he's going to reveal the artist of the first airdrop today. So, this is one of my favorite projects as far as, connecting with community that has launched in the past week. Have you heard of this project, Chris?
I heard of this project through you and some others. I wasn't able to mint and get in, so now I'm kind of watching from the sidelines. But the fact that they're going to announce a big artist, I mean, that's definitely, what I refer to in the stock world, right, as a catalyst, something that could drive future value. So I'll be watching from the sidelines, but, maybe I will have to get in depending on who the artist of this project is.
Absolutely.
All right. And then last headline we've got before we get into our interview. I mean, Maz, we talked about it last week, right? That DraftKings, who has their own NFT series, they were doing a pass for a punk. So for $25, you could enter a daily fantasy football contest, and the person with the most points was going to win a crypto punk. So $25, and you had the chance to win a crypto punk. Well, guess what, Maz? DraftKings is back, and this week, $100 to enter. 2,020 people, and you have the chance to win a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. So Bored Ape number 4684. The rarity is 7,509 out of 10,000. And the co-founder of DraftKings, Matt Kalish, he tweeted about it. His PFP on Twitter is a Bored Ape. So he's a big fan of the project. And also, Maz, they hinted, hey, we're going to keep doing NFTs for daily fantasy as long as people keep entering these contests. So what do you think of this? Is it worth it to, maybe play one of these for the chance at winning one of these big projects?
I love it. So I think it's great because it's going to combine, the people that like to do sports bets to the NFT world. And I've kind of seen a cross reference of both communities already. Personally, for myself, I wouldn't do it just because, I just don't like the odds, but I love how the attention they're getting. And I wish they would buy one themselves and figure out ways to use that, in different ways instead of just, giving it away. But I do like where this is going, and I can see other, companies doing this as far as promo, and it just gets views, it gets clicks, and then, it gets all the traffic. So I'm excited for that.
Definitely. All right, Maz. Well, we whipped through a bunch of headlines, a bunch of mints that happened this last week. It's always an exciting time, but an even more exciting part of the roadmap, right, is these exclusive interviews that we've been doing with the teams behind some of these projects. Yes. So earlier this year, there was a launch for AlphaBetty Doodles, 10,000 NFTs. They were 0.03 to mint. You can see them below me on the screen here. I mean, look at that colorful artwork. We're super excited to have with us on the show today. We have Dan, who is the community lead. We also have Ken, the front end tech, and Cheryl, the artist of the project. Let me go ahead, bring them all onto stream today. So Dan, Cheryl, Ken, welcome to the roadmap.
What's going on?
Hey there.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on the show today. You heard me say, so the roadmap is Benzinga's new NFT show. And we love doing these interviews, right? Because we get to ask, about the projects. We get to get that behind the scenes look, at how some of these got started and also what's to come, right? The show is called The Roadmap after all. So we'll dive into that in a little bit. But first question I have for you guys, is AlphaBetty, it's helping children and teachers. They've got a big mission here, right? Can you talk about this mission of helping children and teachers and why it is so important to you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can do that. And, I'll give you my perspective, and then Ken and Cheryl can jump in and give some of theirs as well. This is a project that, we're all families, we all have children. And I think, we've found ourselves in situations where, or I personally have found myself in situations where, I've had challenges finding the right school, finding the right assistance for my kids, and have had, I would say, opportunities to make those things happen. My kids need something. I'm a CPA by training. I analyze data for a living, have the opportunity to make some of those things happen, and realize that some people don't get those same opportunities, and finding ways to enable them, and realizing that, public school teachers have to, in a lot of cases, fund their own school supplies, do things out of their own pocket, which, it's a great thing to do. They are absolutely heroes. And I have several teachers in my family as well, but they shouldn't have to, those are all things that we're trying to leverage AlphaBetty to assist people with, and really just to make sure that the broader NFT community knows that a lot of us have benefited financially very significantly from this, and giving back is a way that we can show our appreciation for kind of the opportunities that we've had. Ken, Cheryl, you want to add anything to that?
One of the first charities that I wanted to give to was my children's old primary school, because that was something I really wanted to do. So in the UK, there's a lot of lack of government funding, so it was really important to do that for them. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the school where our children went to, they were always struggling for funding for books, particularly. So the first thing we did was, with the AlphaBetty book itself, was we donated a whole load to their younger classes before the NFT project had taken off, before we'd have done anything. So we always pledged that we would try and give as much as we could back to that school. We've been there for 12 years in total with our children.
Yeah, so it was really close to our hearts.
Yeah, that's awesome. So along with, the original children and teachers mission of the project, also seen some new charities added. So one that caught my eye was Gamers Outreach, helping children while in hospital have that ability and that access to playing video games. Can you guys talk a little bit about, why this charity was added, and maybe if we'll continue to see more charities added down the road?
Yeah, so I would say, in the longer term, you'll definitely see more charities added down the road, and that, we want to partner with organizations that will enable either teachers, children, or both, right? Because, enabling teachers also helps children. And I would say this Gamers Outreach partnership is so important to us, and to me in particular, because I grew up a gamer. And, I played sports. I was not the top talented sports person, but, always found a home almost in the gaming space, and not just blindly gaming, but also gaming and learning and trying to improve my skills. And that led me to learn coding and HTML, which led me to my career that I'm in now, and ultimately to NFTs. So while it's gaming, it's coming from a perspective that's improving kids' health and wellness by giving them an outlet while they're potentially in the hospital, and from my perspective, giving them an outlet to learn. And that gaming is a way to compete and learn and drive kids to become better at something. And that's really what's important.
Yeah, that's awesome. Question for you guys. So where did the name for the project come from? You know, AlphaBetty Doodles, Alphabet, but I'm curious to hear the origin story behind it.
Okay, I guess that question's for me then. Well, I mean, the whole idea for AlphaBetty has been going around in my head for about 10 years, and it was the name that came first. And because for the book, I wanted it to be about learning the alphabet. So it was just AlphaBetty, and that's how it came about, really. So, and then it was only in the last year that I decided to actually, you know, sit down and do the book, and I'm really proud of it. So it's colourful, it's bright, and you know, it appeals to kids, but also to families alike. So, yeah.
Amazing. So you've had the name then for a while, then you would say?
Yeah, for about probably 10 years. Yeah, it was just it was just deciding on the look of the character, which took a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually a great point. So that brings me to my next question. So the artwork is very colorful.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the art, the inspiration behind it? You know, how long you've been doing it, or you know, what just motivated this artwork? Because yeah, I love it. It stands out completely when you look at it.
So like after I did the book, you know, my husband has been in the NFT space and said, you know, this would be a great idea for a project. So I started working on, you know, different hair colors and the items that they're holding. You know, I wanted to pick a few female characters, like Princess Leia with the lightsaber, Snow White, Wizard of Oz. But you know, everyone seems to have a different favorite look based on the color combinations or a trait. So it's not just the rare ones that appeal to people.
Exactly. I'm a big fan of the backgrounds too. I like the different backgrounds. You know, those I like looking at certain ones with the backgrounds. Awesome.
Yeah, we've got a lot. There's a lot of different background traits. Like we noticed a lot of projects tend to just have 7 or 8 different colors, just plain colors, and we knew it would be a bit difficult to get a lot of detail in the backgrounds because it can make the whole thing a little bit too busy. I think, obviously I'm a bit biased, but I think Cheryl's really nailed the backgrounds. There are a lot of different variations to them, but they don't take away from the character in the foreground.
Exactly.
And
yeah, my favorite.
I think we've got about 30 or so different backgrounds. There's an awful lot of backgrounds in there. Obviously, some are pretty rare.
Awesome. Well, since you brought up the traits here, that was one of our questions to get to. We always like asking the teams, right? And I know it's going to be a tough one, probably especially for Cheryl since she designed all of these. But let's start with Dan. You know, what is your favorite, you know, background or trait or what she's holding? What's your favorite one out there?
Yeah, that is a perfect question for me because like I said, I'm trained as an accountant. I am not a creative. I provided one contribution to this whole project artistically, and it was the concept of investment alpha. So Ken told me the concept and AlphaBetty, and I bought the book. My kids love the book. You can get it on Amazon. But I thought to myself, like, what a great way to like bridge the NFT space into the AlphaBetty space or the alphabet space by using the investment alpha symbol as like incorporating that into the project. So I would say that my favorite trait is that investment alpha. I'm like I said, an accountant. I'm a CFA charter holder as well. So spent a lot of time in the finance world. And that's a piece that I just think is very cool.
Awesome. Ken, how about you? You mentioned some of the backgrounds. Any comments on, you know, favorite hair color, favorite item she's holding, anything like that as far as the traits?
I mean, I really like the lightsaber and the ape as well, the little monkey that she's holding. You know, we tried to have a few nods to the NFT space generally. So for me, probably the monkey. And I really like the AlphaBetty Doodles background, which has the logo incorporated into the background. That's probably my favorite traits.
Awesome. And Cheryl, we turn to you. I know it's going to be tough, but what's some of your favorite backgrounds, some of your favorite hair colors, or what she's holding? Are you able to pick any for us?
Yeah, if you stop right there, I like the Harley Quinn hair with the different coloured bunches, and nice. I also like the playing cards that she's holding, because if you turn it round, it spells love, and I thought that was like a cute thing.
Awesome.
Not a lot of people spot it, but yeah.
Well, we will have to look out for that. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, guys. That's one of our favorite questions to always ask. My next question is, we've seen a coloring book airdrop already, but, I know there is a roadmap out there, but can you share with our viewers, what are some of the next items that AlphaBetty holders can look forward to out there?
Ken, you want to take that or you want me to take it?
Well, no, yeah, the next thing that's coming out is some merchandise. We've been working on some exclusive merch. We've had a number of samples sent to us, and we're in the process of finishing the website, which is going to incorporate the exclusive merchandise. There's only going to be a handful of items. There's going to be about 4 or 5. We didn't want to have too many for the initial Genesis merch. And obviously you're going to need to have you're going to have to own at least one Betty token to gain access to that merchandise, and it'll be a limited run of the merchandise to begin with, and then obviously we're going to look to expand that range out over time. So that's the very sort of next thing that I've been working on getting finished. There's a number of other things that we've got going on. We're looking into a metaverse build, which we're working with some guys on. They're looking to build us out a school in the metaverse. We're going to be incorporating some of the pages from the colouring book. We didn't just go with just colouring pages. There's a number of activity sheets in the colouring book as well. So we're going to try and incorporate some of those into the metaverse build so you can interact with them. And obviously linking through to the website and the merch store and that kind of thing. So they're the 2 things that we're working on currently, or that from our end. I know there's a number of other things that Dan's been looking into as well.
Yeah, so I mean, if you've seen our roadmap, you see that it's pretty intense, and we've, had more opportunities after selling over 4 million in secondary sales, 1,200 ETH or so, that maybe when we created the idea, I didn't create anything. So when Ken and Cheryl created the idea, that we didn't have before all of those sales. So one of the big things that we're looking into is we're contacting publishers to work a large scale physical book for Cheryl and AlphaBetty, and that that's really the most branding and most recognition that we can bring to AlphaBetty. We're as Ken mentioned, working with some folks on building our metaverse so that we can, I think about our digital, physical, and charitable roadmap being kind of 3 different things, and that all really communicate with each other. But with that school and with some of those opportunities, we're able to continue to raise funds and benefit charities, whether it be metaverse events for fundraising. We've got 2 popular artists that we're working with on collaborations for charity auctions. Those are going to be big events for us. And then, combining that with what you think of as more of a standard NFT roadmap with a companion drop in the works, with which we can talk about a little bit. With ultimately further down the road, we want to build that into a AlphaBetty universe where you can actually mint or print a book using the NFTs that you own that live within the universe. Yep.
That's exciting. No, man, that's amazing. And I remember, so when I first bought the AlphaBetties, I think that was one of my first pieces that I bought getting into NFTs. And, I joined the Discord, and I love seeing the Discord, the community behind it. So this is great to see, and I'm excited for the future. My question to you guys is, we've seen celebs like Gary Vee, we have Von Miller and others that love the project. What does that mean to you guys, specifically Cheryl? What does that mean as the artist of the project to have, someone like Gary Vee, praising the project?
It's a bit difficult for me because a lot of them are American celebrities that some I might not have heard of before, but it's amazing. Now I know who they are. It's amazing that they're interested in our project, So it's great.
It's very humbling.
Yeah, definitely.
And have you guys been in contact with any of them? I know Von Miller and AlphaBetty's have been working on something. Or
we've spoken with Tyler quite a lot, actually. He was really been vocal in our Discord and helped the Sundays for Betty's initiative that we started a few weeks ago.
Who's Tyler Columbus, who is an offensive lineman for the Broncos, won a Super Bowl. Yeah, it's been wild. And we're also working with Des Bryant and his team at Personal Corner. So my son FaceTimed with Des Bryant
Nice.
last week. And I've been in this space since, I don't know, the beginning of January. And my 15-year-old didn't care at all about NFTs until I said, hey, Von Miller owns an AlphaBetty. And then his eyes perked up a little bit and he started, being interested in it. So it's meant a lot to me.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love seeing the NFL get involved, NFL players get involved in the NFT space. I think that's really cool. How do you guys measure the success of AlphaBetties? What do you guys look for?
So for me, it's community. It's, how many owners, how many people are in the Discord. And, if we continue to grow unique owners, then eventually we're going to succeed. And I would tell you that also, like, truly the good that we're doing. I mean, my favorite part so far, and I know Ken and Cheryl loved it as well, was all of the money that we were able to pass out through Donors Choose, thinking about their, the teachers' faces and their gratitude and, enabling them to do more is cool.
Yeah, that was a really special part.
Yeah.
We managed to turn a slight technical oversight into an auction. We had a Betty with a crown, but the rendering on the gold didn't come through, and we didn't pick it up. That was kind of my fault. I put it in the wrong folder. Dan noticed it, and we were wondering what to do. We managed to pick it up off of the secondary market, and then we decided to throw that out for an auction. And we managed to raise, it was around about $15,000, which we gave all to different Donors Choose causes. I think we helped. There was nearly 20 different teachers in reaching their goals that they were looking for. That was really special. I think for me, probably the best moment was to make the donation to Gamers Outreach. Actually really kind of hit me quite hard, because it was, it's sort of easy to talk about doing it, but to actually do it and make that donation and realize, that's a significant amount of money, and realizing who is on the receiving end of that aid was a real big moment for us personally. Really started to sink in what we've managed to kind of achieve in a short space of time, and there's still a lot more to come from the charity donations. We've still got an awful lot more to give, and it feels great to be able to do something like that. Really amazing.
And our community are so supportive of us, and they're all a part of it. And so it's great.
Absolutely. There's a bit of a Betty family, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Love that. And I know, Dan, you mentioned community, right? So my next question for you is, what goes on into building this community? I know the Discord, what goes on to managing the Discord, and are you guys doing anything to outreach any other social medias moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a lot going on. One of the big things that we have going on right now is, like you said, DraftKings. A lot of folks came to NFTs from daily fantasy sports. I'm one of those. Yeah. I was a moderator for Roto Grinders and then got into Top Shot and now into kind of more decentralized NFTs. But we've got season-long fantasy and daily fantasy where, where we're sponsoring prizes within the Discord. We've got various Twitter campaigns and, managing the hashtags, as silly as that sounds, is important. And what we'll be launching in the not too distant future are a couple of things: a community grants program where we've taken in applications where we're going to fund members of our community's efforts to better the Betties or bet on Betties, so that they can bring awareness and serve as our Betty Army, or our Betty Troop is the hashtag. And then we're also working on a potential charity bracket, where there are so many other NFT projects in the space that have benefited charity communities. And we feel like we've helped ramp that up and make it kind of more of the norm. Like you take in millions of dollars, you should give some of it away. But we're going to find some of the best other projects out there and run a March Madness type bracket where we're going to give money to the charity of the winning NFT project. So that's going to be fun. And that'll all be on Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. I mean, community is so important. We've seen that with so many of these NFT projects, to bring that lasting value, keep engaged. I love the fact that you called out, the unique owners. That's something we always talk about with a lot of these projects. We already hit on it a little bit, and you just mentioned hashtags, Dan. So we have the hashtag Sunday is for the Betties. That was started as you guys said, it sounds like by an NFL player. Can you talk a little bit, how did you guys find out that this hashtag was a thing, and what does it mean going forward for the success of the project?
Yeah, so Sundays for the Bettys, as we mentioned, was kind of, the idea was created by Tyler Columbus, and we locked into it. We, know a lot of cats and apes and World of Women and other cats, and all kinds of different projects are supporting AlphaBetty. Not all of the projects are, not all of the community members use AlphaBetties as their profile picture every single day. Sundays for the Bettys is a day for, everyone to come out and remind crypto Twitter how much they love AlphaBetty, that they support AlphaBetty. Even if they don't identify as an 8-year-old girl on crypto Twitter, they can, for that day, come out and, show everyone how much they support us. And you see, there's a lot of support. It helps fuel us as a, team, and helps fuel us as a community. And it really does mean a lot to us. And that's my mom.
Awesome. Well, one thing I did see, I love your Twitter, right? Sharing all these cool, stories and comments from the community. Cheryl, I'm going to start with you on this one. So if I'm not mistaken, I saw that someone got a Betty tattoo.
Oh my God.
Can you talk a little bit about how did you find out that someone out there had a tattoo, and what did that mean for you as an artist, that someone, permanently put this on themselves?
So much. It was amazing. So they're one of our mods, aren't they? So so they showed us on the Discord, and that is the best thing ever. It's like, that's so much pressure now that my big question now is, will they be getting it colored in? Because you look at AlphaBetty and that color pops. So to me, I'd love to see this colored in.
Yeah, they are. I think that was just the first sit-in where they had the line work done, so they're going to be getting that filled in. Be interesting to see when it's finished.
Awesome. Well, will any of you guys be getting an AlphaBetty tattoo? Someone's asking in the chat right now, so I got to throw it out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting one.
Yeah.
I've got a few tattoos myself. I haven't had a tattoo maybe for about 10 years, but I feel like the bar's been set by our mods, so I need to get on that and get one myself. Absolutely.
Dan, you're shaking your head. No tattoo for you.
Yeah, I have no tattoos and won't be adding one. AlphaBetty is forever with me, but not forever on me.
That is amazing. Just really quick, I want to backtrack a little bit. You guys mentioned an companion coming soon. Is there a timeline for that we can look out for?
We haven't got a timeline as such. At the moment, we're just finalising the assets, all of the different traits. And we're going to compile, obviously, gen all the art and get a lot of the bits and pieces done, like metadata, stuff like that. We haven't set an actual date. We're looking more at getting the merch done and the metaverse, so it's not going to be until after that. But it's definitely something that we've pretty much nearly finished all the art now, haven't we? So we can maybe tease something along the lines, maybe in a week or two. So people can maybe see a couple of examples, what it might look like.
First question we have on that subject, we've got PNW Outdoors in the chat saying, will the companion be airdropped? Is that something that'll be airdropped, or will have to be minted for gas?
Probably do it with a minting, the same kind of thing as a lot of the companion drops. We'll have to have a corresponding Betty. However many Bettys you have, you'll be able to mint that amount. I guess we'll have to look and see nearer the time how gas is playing, but that was the general initial thought, was to do a standard kind of free mint with gas.
Perfect. Well, I saw on your website, I believe that a couple of you own Bored Apes, if I'm not mistaken. Can we talk a little bit about other NFT projects? You mentioned you were in NFTs before this. What are some other NFT projects that you own or like? I'll start with Dan here.
So I'm going to plug, my partner, Ken Malibu, real quick, and tell you that I met Ken through his other community project, the Ken Malibu Beach Hut, and collected pieces from each of his, basically for each one of my family members. And that's what brought us together. Other projects that I really like, I mean, I love ApeDAO. I love and I'm coming to love House of Kiba, both of which collaborated on the coloring book. I love also a community Blitmap, which came from D. Hoff, which is the guy who created Loot. It was his kind of Genesis project. That's one of my favorites. And you know, the Bored Apes through ApeDAO. I no longer have a Bored Ape. I have a lot of shares of ApeDAO, but I'll never not love my apes.
And Ken, how about you? Any NFTs that you want to mention here that you own or that you are excited for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a big fan of the apes. I've had my ape for a while now and managed to pick up a few mutants. So I love that project in the community. I'm really looking forward to Roadmap 2, seeing what's coming next from those guys. I've got to give a big shout out to CyberCongs. I think it's an incredibly underrated project. Again, the guys there are fantastic. A lot of them aped in on the Bettys when we first launched, and really have been very supportive of our community. I was lucky enough to get a Genesis Kong not that long ago, and I just really like the whole model of the bananas and the way that works, the ecosystem they're building for that. I guess off of the back of those, I've been looking at the DistoPunks V2, which are doing a very similar thing, and Octoheads. They're probably the three real main ones that I've been, looking at a lot more closely and getting involved in the community there. And, I like to try and keep my head in the NFT space as much as possible to soak it up and to see what's doing well. So I'd say those three for me really are the standouts at the moment.
And Cheryl, I know, obviously you're newer to NFTs, but you're an artist. Is there anything that stands out in terms of artists, that maybe Ken has showed you recently?
I mean, for me, like House of Kiba that collaborated with us on the colouring book, because I just love what they did with the animation. So that one for me.
They're a very talented team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Talented guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the shout out for those projects. I think that's going to do it for our questions. In the chat, I mean, you can tell that people just love this project. We got so many compliments, and we've been looking forward to having you guys on for a long time. We had people asking for this in the chat, people asking on Twitter. So it's always exciting to bring our viewers, what projects they want to hear from. So today, everyone, got the behind the scenes look at AlphaBetty, what's next, what's to come. And we learned more about, how passionate you guys were to give to charity. I love that personally. And I have kids, definitely going to be looking at that AlphaBetty coloring book on Amazon. I'm excited for this project going forward. So Dan, Ken, Cheryl, we want to thank you for coming on the roadmap today.
No, thank you for having us on. Really appreciate being invited on. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pull them off here. Anyone watching out there, let us know in the chat. I mean, I know most of you out there are familiar with this project. If you own AlphaBetty, let us know. Press 1 in the chat. But Maz, I mean, we heard some great things, right? We always love hearing what's next, right? So we've got a companion coming. We've got merch coming. What are you looking forward to with this project?
Well, first of all, my favorite piece is from them. I love the little AlphaBetties that are holding the Ethereum coin. Those are my favorite pieces.
And the Bitcoin. I love the Bitcoin
and the
too.
Bitcoin. Yeah,
yep.
I like Ethereum a little bit more. But yeah, I'm excited for the future of this project. I love the whole charity aspect of it, and the whole, helping the children, and the design of it all is very attractive, like you said, to kids. The coloring book, and it can just introduce a whole new category of people into NFTs. I like that NFL athletes are getting into it as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that charity aspect is so important. And I mean, Maz, we talk all the time, right? A project can have, an amazing roadmap laid out, but it's a matter of actually following through with that. And we've seen that, right? AlphaBetty, we've seen them donate those checks to these charities. We've seen them add more charities, right? The gamers one, I love that, right? And as someone with kids, I love the mission of the project, right? To help children and teachers. You know, we do have a teacher shortage here in the US. We've got funding issues, and this is a project that's helping with that, and also just helping kids get excited about reading. I mean, my kids love to read. This is another thing, you know, that can bring attention, though, to reading and why it's so important for kids. So I love the passion behind the project.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about this upcoming week, Chris. Are there any mints that you're looking for or that we're keeping an eye out?
You know, I got to get caught back up in my minting calendar. I had a pretty good one going, but a lot of it has already happened. So we're about halfway through September. So I know there's going to be more mints coming. The one that I would highlight today, we've talked about it a lot, right? DraftKings. DraftKings does some NFT drops, and these are different, right? They're not the PFP style. These are more like the digital trading card style, right? So they already did, you know, Tom Brady. They had Derek Jeter last week. They had Simone Biles. Today they have Tony Hawk. So Tony Hawk today is going to be their NFT. They're going to start at $12 every hour, 3 o'clock through 7 o'clock, ranging in price from $12 to $100. You know, so I'll be looking forward to that. Also, I'm going to be looking at Omni Morphs, right? So you talked about Omni Morphs, right? The artwork. And then also, you know, that floor price, the pre-mint versus the public mint, and then that reveal. So Omni Morphs, what do you think, Maz? I mean, I feel like I should get into that one later this week.
Yeah, I mean, Omni Morphs, again, yeah, we've been following them closely. I love the project. So what's interesting about them is they're doing a deflationary aspect to their release, right? So a couple of weeks, I think you have 2 months after launch, you can fuse together 2 of them, and you get, you know, you can fuse certain characteristics and then make them rare. So you're essentially going to burn supply, and you can only do this for the first 2 months, I believe. After that, you can't do it anymore. So it should take supply down theoretically from 10,000 to 5,000 if people fuse these pieces. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Again, the artist, you know, Daniel, you know, he's someone that I love his artwork. I love his past work, you know, Marvel, Disney, Playboy, a lot of, you know, amazing work behind his, you know, resume. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
I mean, I love the fusing, right? We've seen that with some of these other projects. You know, it provides value, right? Because you're ultimately getting a more rare NFT out of it. And then also you're decreasing supply. So I'm liking this project more and more, Maz. Any other big projects on your watch for this week or next week?
No, not that I can think of right away. I am looking at certain projects that are launching end of the month. What is the other one? Mikaverse. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, Mikaverse, and that's another one with such a huge Discord, a big following. So are they doing whitelist and pre-mint, or is that all public? Do you know?
They haven't decided yet, but here's something interesting, right? So their normal mint price is going to be 0.20, which is about more than double of the average mint prices that we've seen. What do you think of that? That's interesting.
I kind of like that, right? Like, I mean, personally, Maz, I guess it's a matter of opinion. Would you rather pay 0.2 and lower gas for something, or pay 0.08 and super high gas? So, I mean, at the end of the day, your cost basis could end up being the same. So while 0.2 sounds expensive, I don't know.
What if there is still a gas war, though? Because there's that. I think they're banking on the fact that there's so much demand that 0.20 may push some people away. But I mean, there's 70,000 people in their Discord, man. I think it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, and then, you know, Maz, that starts that whole debate, right? Is are they really trying to get around gas, or are they just trying to make more from the project, right? I mean, ultimately, if you don't want a gas war, you almost have to do, you know, a pre-mint, or you know, like we saw today, right? The lottery, the tiered drops. There are some different ways around the gas war. So I don't know. The more I think about that, I mean, I almost feel like, yeah, I mean, it could just be based on, I mean, supply and demand, right? Which ultimately is how, you know, an economy is ran, right? Supply and demand. So, but 0.2, I mean, that's not a price we normally see for PFPs, right? That's more of like a art blocks or a, you know, curated art project, you know, that charges that higher price. So that could be one to watch. Also, that could be a trend then where some of these larger projects start doing a higher mint cost. And, you know, so definitely something to keep an eye out on.
Absolutely, man. And I think we're in such a weird space in the NFT world right now. You know, a lot of these projects are being minted, sold at a loss. You know, the next project minted, sold at a loss, gas wars. So I think there needs to be some creativity, and we're starting to see that. So I would like for, yeah, like you said, if projects can maybe do some sort of, you know, raffle or just higher prices to avoid these gas fees and allow the community members to get it, that'd be awesome. Because today we saw somebody mint 1,000 pieces of a certain project, and you know they're going through loopholes and they're not hacking, but they're, you know, using their ways to essentially leverage all these pieces and make so much money and leave the normal retail user out of it. So
yeah, and I mean, as we see the growth of NFTs happen, that's something, you know, I don't want to see happen, right? We're going to end up getting to the point where the beginner NFT, you know, collectors and investors start to either lose faith in it or they get priced out, right? I mean, myself, right, when I first got into NFTs, I mean, I, of course, was more like Top Shot, right, and the ones without gas. But once I started getting into the Ethereum-based NFTs, I mean, I learned real quick, minting something for 0.03 or 0.04 doesn't actually mean you're paying 0.03 or 0.04. You have to count in gas. And then when you go to sell your NFT, right, you got to pay gas. You got to pay, you know, the transaction fee to OpenSea. So, you know, in order to be able to actually, you know, buy and sell these, there are some complicated layers. You know, of course, if you're collecting them because you like the artwork or because you think they're going to gain value over the years, you're not as worried about paying the gas right now. But the majority of people out there, I mean, you're definitely a little concerned about how much you're spending on gas to mint or to buy something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's great conversation, Maz, you know, to talk about, you know, some of these upcoming projects, see the different ways. So you mentioned the URS project. I think we had Sneaky Vampire, was it Sneaky Vampire Syndicate? That one, I think, did a similar thing too, right? I tried to mint it, and it was you could go to the site, and you essentially were clicking a button to say mint. Then you had to type in the word, and if you were one of the first people to do it, you essentially got a pass to mint over the next, I think it was 4 hours. So you had 4 hours then to mint your 3 vampires. So, I mean, you weren't necessarily getting the cheapest gas available because it was, you know, the middle of the day, but you were able to pick and choose when you were minting your vampires. So, and again, Sneaky Vampire, that was a project, you know, done by one of the Bored Ape artists. It had a lot of hype behind it, a big Discord, and they kind of tried to do a fair launch. You know, so I kind of like this new approach that some of these projects are doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you mentioned them on Thursday, and yeah, I kept an eye on them over the weekend. I hopped on the Discord, but you know, it was essentially sold out in like 5 minutes. You know, everybody jumped on that, and yeah, I mean, they're doing well in the aftermarket. So again, avoiding gas wars, giving people a chance, and avoiding, you know, these whales from buying thousands of them, I think is key.
Yeah, and it looks like we're at 0.77 right now, floor for Sneaky Vampire. You know, again, I like the artwork. Again, one of the artists from Bored Ape. I think they've got bats coming as part of their roadmap. You know, they've got some other things coming. And this project, it was 8,888. So it wasn't a 10K project. But, you know, again, I tried to mint, right? Had to try, right? To get that pass. Yeah. Wasn't able to get it, and then the floor started going up. So I haven't gotten into vampires yet, but you know, Maz, it starts that whole debate too. You know, whether you're better off trying to mint something or maybe buy in, you know, on the floor price pre-reveal or post-reveal, so you don't have to worry about those gas wars. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. You know, and it seems like current state of NFTs are, you're better off not minting and you're better off waiting for secondary sales, where people are, you know, kind of undercutting themselves and, you know, just listing whatever, because liquidity is the name of the game. It seems like, you know, people are willing to take a loss as long as they have liquidity for the next project, and they keep repeating the cycle all it takes is for you to hit, the jackpot on one project, and then you make your money back. That seems to be the trend people are kind of going towards with NFTs right now. But that's a great question I have for you is, if you're new to NFTs, what do you do? Do you just mint and test your luck, or do you buy on OpenSea a project that you like? What would you say?
I think, personally, if you're new to NFTs, I think you're better off almost, unless if you start with a ton of ETH, right? I guess it depends on your starting value. If you have a ton of ETH to start, you might be better off doing a mint and trying to mint, 5 or 6 of a project, hope that you got a rare one and, sell off, in pieces. But if you don't have a ton of ETH to start and you're new, I mean, where I started was trying to go after some of the cheaper projects on OpenSea that had upcoming airdrops or, fusion or, breeding, right? So like I got into, Arabian camels, right? A small project because you were going to get a baby camel, Slum Doge because you were going to get the Slumboghini, right? So you essentially were paying a smaller price, but you were getting a free NFT down the road. We're seeing it now, Robotos, right? I bought in at 0.09 because the floor dropped on that project. The floor now is like 0.22 and there's pets coming, right? So I'm going to get a pet for free. And I think the pet I get is going to be worth more than I paid for my robot. So, and we talked about that with Doge Pound, right? How if you minted one, or if not mint, but if you bought one of those on the open market, you were going to get the puppy, right? So that's kind of where I would look if I was new to the industry, right? It depends on your starting price, but I would look for an event that's going to happen. Maybe, what do you think of that, Maz?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great strategy. I've seen a lot of projects pump up. For example, the Doge Pound was at 0.8-ish. As soon as they announced the release of the puppies, they pumped almost to 3 ETH, and then they went back down. So it's almost like a, buy the rumor, sell the news, it seems like. It just comes down to strategy too. I think a lot of people come into NFT world thinking that they can buy anything and flip anything right away. And I think those days are gone for now. I think you have to be more precise, definitely do your own research and, find catalysts like you said, Chris. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you said precise. I think you're spot on. You got to be precise. And then the other P word I would add is you got to be patient sometimes, right?
Yes.
Like you said, you can't just buy and sell all the time. I mean, there is some money to be made if you can get in on the pre-mint of some of these projects and sell right away. But otherwise, if you mint, I mean, you've got to just constantly be paying attention and, you can't just sell or you're going to end up losing, what you paid in gas too. So, and that's the other thing. You got to know your cost basis. You got to know how much it's going to cost you to sell. Otherwise, you're going to just make the transaction and not realize until later that you actually lost money on the whole transaction. So a lot of good points there, Maz. Again, I got to remind everyone, smash that like. We had a great interview today, right, with AlphaBetty Doodles. I mean, you see this amazing artwork below me on the screen right now. And Maz, we hit on it at the start of the show, right? We talked about crypto dads. I know there is a ton of excitement about crypto dads. A lot of people love this project, and we actually are going to have them on the roadmap. So Maz, what do you think? Should we share with everyone right now when that interview is going to happen?
Absolutely, man. We're going to have them on Thursday, 2 days from now, actually. So, 2 p.m. Eastern.
All right, guys, you heard it here first from my man Maz here. Crypto dads. I mean, you guys have been asking for it, right? In the chat, hitting us up on Twitter. Crypto dads will be on the show this Thursday, September 16th. Yeah, I know we got STBC here in the chat. Let's go. Yep. That's right. Yep. Dads unite. We got crypto dads coming on Thursday. I mean, Maz, I think that show is going to be a pretty exciting one.
I can't wait. The community is big and they're loyal and their engagement is awesome. So it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to ask them a lot of questions because they've been very successful in building a community, man. I mean, we saw the holders, right? There's they have more than 50% holders.
Yeah, like 6,300, I think it said, for unique holders. And Maz, we were just talking about catalysts and events, right? Crypto Dads launched and they said, hey, we're going to launch Crypto Moms in a couple of weeks. So we're going to get to ask them if they have an update on that timeline of when we're going to get Crypto Moms. And also down the road, they've got Crypto Tots. And They got a lawnmower racing game coming someday, Maz. I mean, I'm excited about that. They even said that certain dads, I think the bald head ones are going to be faster in the lawn mower racing game. So we're going to get to hear, maybe we can get the inside scoop on which dads people should be looking at now for that game.
Absolutely. They've done it right. And I have so many questions for them. It's going to be a great interview.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for our time today. Again, a great show. We went through a bunch of headlines. We talked about some recent mints. We just got into some mints to watch at the end of the show today. We also told you we got Crypto Dads coming on Thursday this week, September 16th, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, who could forget, we had Dan, Ken, and Cheryl from AlphaBetty Doodles. Yes. We got to hear all kinds of great things about that project. I mean, again, Gary V, Von Miller. I mean, almost the whole Denver Broncos team, right, is involved in some way in AlphaBetty's right now. And that's super exciting. And they've got a lot of great things coming, whether in the form of, more NFTs, merch, and also donations to charities. So I love it. And I'm super excited for that. But that's going to do it for the roadmap today, Maz. I will see you on Thursday. Crypto Dads, super exciting show.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, as always, guys, smash that like, go ahead and hit subscribe on your way out. And we will see everyone on the roadmap Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Don't go anywhere, though. Stay tuned. We got At the Close coming up in a little bit to talk all the top stock movers of the day.